they found that help people to grow in their relationship with Christ is by serving. Isn't that interesting? And in our culture, this is something that is hard for many of us because we don't want to serve. We want to be served. And look at it this way. First of all, we're called to encounter God. And after we encounter God, He calls us into relationships with other believers, and this is where we get the support and encouragement that we need to go and encounter the world. And as we encounter the world through service and through loving the world, what that does is it draws us closer to God because we experience the kingdom in us as He uses us as we interact in people's lives. Do you see how it's kind of like a cycle that we need to continually be in? And one of the most powerful ways to encounter the world is through the local church. As Paul said, the church is the hope for the world. And so many of you are already serving in the church, but there are many opportunities for you to have here to be able to serve. Now, one of the things, quite simply, is we have these cards that were made up. Like this one says, "Does God care? Come find out yourself." And it's got information about the Vineyard on the back. Just keep some of these in your wallet or in your purse. When you're talking to someone and a spiritual conversation comes up, you say, "Hey, why don't you come to our church?" And you just give them the card. It's like a business card, an open invitation. And you'd be surprised of how many people would come if you invite them, especially if you say, "I'll go with you, and let's go out for coffee afterwards and talk about it." The other thing is that there's many areas in the church that we have for you to serve. The greeters and the ushers need help, and I just think that first contact as people come through the doors is so important to create a loving, welcoming environment. The servers, or the greeters and ushers, are critical for setting the atmosphere of our whole church. The children and youth, they got together and they realized that to really pull off all the services that they need for the week, they need over 60 people a week volunteering. There's a great area that you could serve. We have servant evangelism projects weekly, like coming up at the football games to hand out food and drinks. You can help administratively in the office and volunteering in the office or leading a small group. There's so many areas for you to serve in the church. We just welcome you to do that. You can volunteer at the local pregnancy center, volunteer with Young Life or the Christ Center. There's just many opportunities for us to get involved. That's how we can serve others and give in a way that we all encounter the world, as well as encountering God and encountering others. We need that for our spiritual health and development. You know, Jane and I have always had a commitment that whatever our kids were involved in, we would volunteer in that area. So when our kids were little and they were in the nursery, we helped in the nursery. And when their diapers were dirty, I handed them to Jane. And then our kids started playing soccer. I never played soccer before. And so I went and took Joey to sign up for soccer, and they said, "Sorry, you can't sign him up." I go, "Why?" They said, "Because we don't have enough coaches for another team." I said, "Well, then I'll coach." So I coached, and I didn't know squat about soccer. But Wade had played before, and I said, "Wade, what's the rules to soccer?" And so he helped me, and you know what? Through doing that, I developed relationships with those kids, but I also developed relationships with their families. And a few of them started coming to our church in Canyon City. One of the fathers of one of the girls I coached for about 4 years, he still emails me because he had moved on to Texas. The question is, where is God calling you to open up your hearts to encounter the world? Where is God calling you and giving you a passion in a way that you can serve the church and the community? Let's stand and let's celebrate, because you know what? It's an exciting thing that God is inviting all of us to participate in what He's doing for the kingdom. That is an amazing thing. He's inviting you, and He's inviting me on this epic journey. So let's stand and celebrate this mighty God that we are called to serve.